Hi. I just wanted to share with you guys a video tutorial on how I assemble my mini rose. So basically, the mini rose is smaller than small. It's 5 to 6 inches in diameter, and it's using 3.5 sheets of this regular cardstock that you can get from Michael's or Joann's. So let's start. We need the rosebud, the mini rosebud A and mini rosebud B, and the outer petals. Basically, the rosebuds A and B are the same template, the same design. The only thing is that the B is larger, slightly larger than the A. So we need 2 pieces of A, and you basically can see I already lay it out like this, so you guys don't have to, you don't have to worry about layouting it. And this is how the A looks like, and also this is the B. So we need 2 pieces of A, 2 pieces of the A, 1 piece of the B, and 12 pieces of the outer petals. So this is how the outer petals look like when it's laid out. I already laid it out this way. So let's set this one aside and let's focus on our paper flower making. So let's start with the A, the 2 pieces. This is slightly smaller, so you can see very, just really slightly different in size. So let's start with the A. Hold 2 petals together perfectly. That you cannot possibly see the other piece of it, so as much as possible. So the first thing we need to do is just to curl the petals like this. I'm not really curling it I'm basically just gliding my small dowel rod to make this curl in the middle, and that way it would help shape our rosebud effortlessly. So once we already did the curling, now we can fold the petals upward. So basically what we are doing is to create a square in the middle, like so. So let's start with the first petal. I'm just closing the first bud, and I am going to secure it with my hot glue. Like this. So once the first bud is made, let's go ahead and connect the opposite bud and hug around the first one, creating a layer of nice rosebud for your mini rose. So what I do with this one, to be careful, I do one side at a time. You can do both sides, but I just really wanted to be careful, because getting burnt with the hot temperature glue gun is not fun. So again, once your 2 petals are put together into a nice bud, 2 layers of bud, we are going to do the 2 remaining sides and hug it around your existing bud one at a time. So try to clean your flour, you know, as you go. Especially for the web-like hot glue that's left. So the next thing is we're going to get our second layer of our rosebud letter A, and what we are going to do is just place this bud as center and perpendicular to the second one. So what I'm just going to do is just put some glue in X, you know, and just place it as center as possible. Then remember, this is where we close. So this is also the sides where we're going to raise our next layer of petals into. So either way, this side or this side, it doesn't matter, as long as this side where you end up closing with your last layer. So one at a time. And the opposite side. And then the two remaining sides. Last piece. And we're done with our innermost bud. So now we're going to have the one piece of the bud letter B, and what does is that this is like the transitional layer from the bud to our outer layer. So what we're going to do now, the same process as we had with the bud A, we're curling this one, curling the middle, like so, and curling the sides outward. I'm using the same dowel rod, the small dowel rod. It's slightly larger than the skewer stick. So I'm sure you can find this one in any craft store, in Michael's or Joann's. And I think I had mine from Lowe's. So both sides are just curling outward. So this will give a smooth transition from your base, from your bud to your outer layer. Again, the same thing. We are squeezing glue on our bud and placing it as center as possible to our bud letter B. And again, we will start where we stopped before. So just have some glue on the sides. And let's work on the opposite petal. Just do it that way. So now we're ready to work on our opposite sides. The two remaining petals on the sides. So here is our rosebud right now. It's really cute. So the next thing we are going to do is work on our outer layers. So we have 12 petals on it. Let's divide it by 3. So each group has 4 petals on it. 2, 3. And what we're going to do is work on the first 4 and curl the 4 petals together, work in the middle, and then curl 4 petals on both sides outward. So what we need to do right now is to connect this petal to our bud, and how we're going to do it is basically this pointed part here should be in the middle of this petal, like so. So how are we going to do that is basically just put a letter, inverted letter T, and the inverted letter T would indicate where's the middle of our petal. At the same time, you don't have to waste glue in this side where it doesn't touch to our bud. So that's how I usually do it. So once you're done, you can then now fold your petal upward and make sure that there's a gap like this before gluing the sides. So this earlobe like petal is basically an advantage for you, so that you'll have an ease in gluing the petals to your bud. So let's work on our second piece. Again, I'm making the inverted letter T, and I'm going to do or put it in the opposite side of the first petal. So now that it's, I'm just adding more glue. I'm not sure if it's the glue or it's the glue gun. I have a new glue gun, but it's really it's basically, it's dripping and it's creating this web like. So now that I have this one in place, I can then now fold this one upward and put some glue on the earlobe part and place it or stick it on the bud, maintaining the same distance on the other side. So let's work on our third petal. And just try to bring this one upward and position it to, you know, the ideal place, and dab some glue on the earlobe and bring it to, you know, the position, similar distance from this side to this side. So each side should have an equal distance of the petal from the bud. And let's go on to the last petal on this layer. And once it's in place, the same thing, we're just folding this one slightly upward and glue the sides to the bud. So we have now our first layer in place into our rose. So let's work on the second layer. So basically, in theory, the second layer is the responsible on, you know, bringing the size of your rose. And the first layer is again the same thing as this layer. It's like the transitional layer. So earlier we start our glue right at the very base of this petal. So let's check how does it looks like now. So if earlier we started from the very base, now let's move a little down and the same thing with the corner. Let's place it there, and then once it's in the position, we can then now glue the sides to our bud. Like so. So there's like a distance of the first layer and the second layer this much. Not so much because this is not a larger rose. So the same thing with the second petal. And folding this one upward and gluing the sides. Of the petals. And because we curl the petals prior to attaching it, we don't have to, it's effortless to create this kind of curls in the middle. Our rose doesn't look flat. So that's why it's necessary to curl the petals prior to attaching it. And here comes the third petal of our second layer. And just dabbing some glue on the sides and securing it wherever it doesn't, there's no distinctive area where you are going to glue this. Wherever the earlobe like touches, that's the exact part. So down to our last piece for our layer, for the second layer. And once in place, just go ahead and put some glue on the sides. So now we have our rose starting to form. But basically, as you know, most of the questions I have, the rose looks square, and this is how it looks like. So to make it more rounded, we need a third layer, which basically is the layer that's responsible in forming circle of our to make our rose looks rounded. That's how I put it. So the same thing again, four petals together. I'm just gliding my dowel rod in the middle and just curl the sides outward. So basically, I mean, logically, if we're going to proceed or we're going to add more petals on it, since earlier we were at the quarter of the base in putting our glue with our previous layer, logically we will just put it like another nudge down, right? But that's not gonna happen because we wanted to finish our rose, and the way how I do that, the way how we do it is basically keeping it not outward, but you know, to keep it aligned to this previous layer. So instead of going nudge down, we're going nudge up. So basically we are putting it back to where it was with the first layer, like so. And you have to check, you have to see it like this. Once it's in place, you will slowly push the base into the base of your rose, and once it's done, you can then now secure the sides. So basically, as you've seen, this petal here is parallel in distance to these previous petals, and it's giving the illusion that it's covered, so it's more rounded. There's a connection from this petal to this petal through this one. So we're going to do the same with our 3 remaining petals. So eyeball it and then push the base inward and secure the sides. So now we're moving to our third piece, and again I am just eyeballing, and once I'm satisfied with the distance, I'm starting to push the, careful, it's hot, starting to push the base to our rose base, and we are going to secure the sides again. So down to our last petal. Again, let's eyeball it, and once we're satisfied, push the base to stick it into our flower, And then let's secure the sides. So now this is our mini rose, and it's basically 5 inches in diameter. Let me show you the comparison of the small and the mini. 1 second. So this is a small rose and this is the mini rose. This one is 7.5 in diameter. This one is 5 inches. So there you have it, guys. I hope this tutorial helps your paper flower journey. Until next time. Bye.